Hello, all. This is me again, John Hoddish. I was supposed to do this video with Kim, but my time is it's limited based on raising my grandchild who's 6 and having chores at home. I'm disabled, so with my disabilities and my expectations at home, it's real hard. Plus, I get extremely tired. I take naps often because this pain is so intense. It's fatiguing. Not just the pain, but the mental anguish part. Panic disorder and anxiety, chronic PTSD. So it's hard for me to find the time to do these, but as it is, I wanted to talk a little bit about what's going on currently in this country. Before we go on, I want to ensure you that I'm not dysfunctional by any means, mentally or physically. I am a little bit more so dysfunctional than mentally. Mentally, I do have my bearings about me. My thought process is clear at times such as these. And basically all the time, I just get tired. That's all. Anyway, we're seeing some activity going on around this country. Some speculative jargon you might hear on the internet. Others are factual, such as the rolling blackout in California going on 3 days. People are without food. People are without water. They're actually turned off the cell phone use. And they're going to take down the repeater towers for ham radio operations. Repeater towers they're in place just simply to allow the ham signal to go further. So they're shutting down communications. They're putting the basic needs of the citizens of Northern California at an extreme limit, to the point of breaking. And they will break eventually. So what the UN did was they called in the UN to watch, like martial law. It's not declared martial law in this country yet, but they're there. The UN is to make sure there's no disruption, no aggressive behavior from the residents. Man, it's a funky situation down there. Also, the UN was reported to have boots on the ground at the southern part of California or the northern part of Mexico, that's coming into California. Also, they're supposed to have boots on the ground, the UN in Canada, on the border of America. That leaves the East Coast as far as an invasion occurring, and strategic plan on their end would be to have the East Coast neutralized as well. And it's interesting because you have Islam has more mosques built on the East Coast than probably combined throughout the rest of the country. So Islam's going to play a part of this. The UN is anti-Semitic and they're pro-Islam. So there it is. I mean that speaks for itself. Interestingly, Obama signed an agreement with the UN right before he was ready to leave office, where he gave permission to the UN, or he agreed to allowing the UN to enter any country in this world where there's upheaval or disobedience amongst the citizens, so they can reestablish control. He did that because they were planning this invasion. In California, they have the port of entry, the point pertaining to shipping, the biggest point of entry pertaining to shipping is in California. I can't remember the bay, but it's a container bay where ocean liners come in with container liners, with those big containers. I don't know if you've ever seen them. I have. I've unloaded some of them. I was a longshoreman for 25 and a half years. But they come in these big, huge containers. Now, these containers can carry a nuclear device, nuclear weaponry. They can carry dirty bombs. They can carry weapons. And it's basically going unscrutinized because Obama sold that port, that bay, to China. But it's really cool and interesting that Obama just came out and said that he forced China into selling that bay back to the United States. This was just in the news maybe 2 days ago. Trump did that. So Trump is coming up behind Obama and cleaning up his treasonous acts and all of his bullshit. But maybe that's why President Trump pulled out of the UN, because he didn't like that idea about the UN coming into a country. But at any rate, a lot of people are calling this an invasion. I would go as far as to say we're being invaded as well, on the premise that the UN is coming onto our soil and they're going to regulate our people, even though they're liberals, and I don't have much use for, the state of California, but there's a lot of good people down in California, a lot of good patriots down in California. And if the shit pops off down there, you have to ask yourself a question. If our American citizens start getting corralled, taken to FEMA camps, perhaps, imprisoned, or worse yet, killed, what are you going to do? That's the question you're going to have to figure out. I know what I'm going to do. I know what I'm going to do. We'll just leave it at that. But because to me, that's an act of war on our country, on our soil. But anyway, so there's a lot of different things going on with this takeover. The impeachment that they're trying to do with President Trump is just asinine. It's a front. And you have to, people on the right, and I still see it to this day, especially in the smaller communities like mine. I live in a little inner city. They don't have a clue what's going on in this country. Not a clue. They're Obama supporters. They still think Obama is the greatest thing ever. And it's just because they're ignorant about the facts. And there's a lot of communities like that. The biggest thing that each one of you could do is to spread the truth. And while you're at it, spread the word of God. That's our duty, our expectation as Christians is to spread God's word and spread his kingdom. Because when it boils down right down to it, it is going to be a holy war in the end. It's already written. These prophecies are unfolding real quick. I wanted to point something out to you as well, pertaining to China. China is not our friends. Don't get it twisted. China wants America. Let me tell you a little something. About a year ago, I was telling Holly, or the PA gun girl, as she's known, that the things that are going on over in Israel are prophetic. They are it's exciting times for me, knowing that, we are in end times, and that, God's going, Jesus, we're going to experience, maybe not in my lifetime, because I don't know when any of this is going to happen, like a thief in the night. But to see how these prophecies are unfolding, it's almost, the Bible it's like our television. You know what I mean? It's showing us step by step what's going to happen, and it's happening. Kind of cool, but it's scary as well. What does that have to do with the Middle East? Is that Israel is our only ally. Now, I'm getting to China. Hold on, bear with me. We have Turkey coming down. And now I told, like I said, Holly this about a year ago, other people coming down. I told Holly, I says, Turkey and Iran is going to get together. They're going to squeeze out Syria. That's going to put them on Israel's doorstep and the mountains overlooking Israel. Israel is going to have their hands full, man, when that comes to pass. Russia is selling arms or a nuclear uranium to North Korea and Iran, and thanks to the Clintons. But you have to. I don't know if you know the prophecies or not, but all of these major players are coming. They're all coming to pass. It's all happening. China's going to come down. They already have. Russia's always, they're always tweaking on something. So with all this movement going on over into in the Middle East, and what's happening between the Kurds and Syria is very spooky, because once the Turks take Syria, and Iran, if they begin to help them, they'll do pretty easily. That's going to put the Palestinians on the border, like I told you, of Israel. Their hands are going to be full. Our only ally is going to be enmeshed in a war of wars on their own. That leaves us standing alone. Was this thought of? Was this designed by the leaders of our world to have us standing alone with, Israel and America as the last two hopes? So we're going to be alone. It's going to be like a Red Dawn thing going on. So I'm bringing this all to you to let you know. October 19th, the Marines have been activated. Marine Corps reserves were activated. I think 10,000 of them are going to head to California, I believe. That's what their orders are, but we'll see. But they were activated. I just don't know where they're going to be. That's coming from various sources. That's factual. The UN on our soil, various sources considered to be factual. People have seen them. I'm just relaying the message. There's a lot of you got Islam with they have training encampments throughout this country. I think the last count was 22. All I'm trying to tell you is the end note to all of this is to prepare spiritually, mentally, and physically. Physically the best you can, because I'm going to have a hard time at it myself. I can't, I can barely walk now. But you have to stockpile at least a month of water and food and ammunition. Buy a couple, water straws, straws for contaminated water. They can filter up to 15,000 gallons. That's a lot of water. You might want to get a water system, maybe a generator. I don't know, whatever your budget can afford you. Peanut butter. Get peanut butter, pasta, beans. Those are some really good staples that you can get. Honey never goes bad. Prepare. And if you don't, and this really jumps off like I believe it's going to, you're going to be in bad shape, and they want you to be, because then you're going to be reliant on the government, and you're going to fall into what they want you to do. With that, I'm going to let you go. I wish you would share this. It's important to get this information out. A lot of people already have heard about it. A lot of people haven't. So if you can share it, I'd appreciate it. Talk to people in your community about what's going on. Educate people. So with that, I'm going to let you go. I love all you patriots, all you militia, even though, I get mad at you because I think you should be stepping up your game. Patriots, militia, Americans, true Americans, I love yous, and I'll talk to yous later on. Bye-bye.